It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Welcome to Hope Live, and I'm very excited that you could join us. This program really discusses things that are closer to us, things that are closer to home, and on a daily basis, we are looking forward to having new things that can help both us in studio as well as the viewers at home. Welcome to those of you that are watching us via YouTube and those that are watching on Facebook. We're also live on Top Star. We are live also on the Hope Channel Decoder, but also many other platforms on free to air. And of course, there are people who are catching us on some unfamiliar. Unfamiliar, I mean, we are not even aware, but we do receive messages from people that are catching us on various platforms, especially those that are outside the country. It's a humbling experience. My name is Bright Sinkozi, your host on this program today. Mwene is not here with me today. I don't know where he has gone to, but well, the program has to continue. A lot of developments are happening in the country, one of which is what the Bank of Zambia is saying. I'll be talking about that in a moment. But also on Monday, when we came on this platform, we did speak to the fact that there is a minister, a permanent secretary that people are talking about over his appearance on the screen as though he was drunk. But then President Hakainde Hichilema yesterday terminated the contract for the Ministry of Education permanent secretary in charge of technical services, Mr. Joel Kamoko. Earlier this week, there is a video that was circulating on social media when he appeared on the news desk for the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, and people were saying he looked drunk. We came on this platform and we said, well, it's very difficult to say just by looking. The question then is, now that President Hakainde Hichilema has acted on this particular permanent secretary, is it coincidence or it is as a result of him being drunk or appearing as though he was drunk? That, I leave it up to you. But let's get talking. The number to send your text messages or contributions is 0976 151517. That number is equally on WhatsApp. We'll be very excited to get your views on what this is all about. But what is trending and making news today, as of yesterday evening, is the announcement. There is actually a press statement to that effect that has been issued by the Bank of Zambia, and they were actually engaging the media houses. You see this on our newsletter today at 18:30. But the issue of the new bank notes. Now, it's a whole lot of other, technical approach to what is happening and all that. But then we did pick on the Ministry of Information Director spokesperson, Henry Kapata, who, in a space of just 2 minutes, tried to explain the summary of what the Bank of Zambia has put in place. So let's quickly see what Henry Kapata has to say regarding the new bank notes that the Bank of Zambia will be rolling out as of the 31st of March this year, 2025. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
Bank of Zambia is pleased to announce the introduction of a new family of the Zambian currency to be launched on March 31st, 2025. The new currency family consists of 6 banknotes: 500 kwacha notes, 200 kwacha notes, 100 kwacha notes, 50 kwacha, 10 kwacha, and 6 coins: 5 kwacha, 2 kwacha, 1 kwacha, 15 ngwe, 10 ingwe, and 5 ingwe. Here are the key lights from the statement by the governor, Dr. Danny Kariaria. The introduction of the new family of the Zambian currencies pursuant to Section 17(1) of the BOZ Act 2022. The alpha code, Zambian kwacha, the numeric code 967, and the currency symbol K will remain unchanged, as will be the value. The design of the new currency draws inspiration from the country's rich heritage, featuring elements that celebrate our unique flora and fauna and breathtaking waterfalls. This initiative, which was kick-started by the board approval in July 2021 reflects the bank's commitment to providing currency that is secure, efficient, user-friendly, and well-suited for everyday transactions. The Ministry of Finance and National Planning will soon issue a statutory instrument, SI, detailing the procedures for exchanging the old currency for the new. The SI will also specify the exchange period as well as the designed exchange points across the country where the public can exchange their old currency for the new currency. To facilitate this change, the bank will launch a countrywide sensitization campaign to educate the public about the new currency so that everyone understands and becomes familiar with its features. Members of the public are encouraged to continue using the existing banknotes and coins, which remain legal tender until the time to be specified in the SI. The bank also apologizes for the current poor state of the banknotes. With the introduction of the new currency, this should soon be a thing of the past.
They are still legal anyway until such a time when government through the Minister of Finance is going to issue an SI and give a period to when this money is going to be phased out. But then those of us that have been complaining about having, well, dilapidated kwacha notes, I think the answer is coming. It's because we are going to have new notes, so that should excite us. Now, there is a lot that is being talked, not really about the changing of the kwacha notes, at what expense and all that. Really, people are not even concerned about that. The discussion now is 500 kwacha as one money, one note that you carry, a whole lot of 500 kwacha. If you lose it, well, you would have lost quite a lot of money. It was better 100 kwacha. You have 5 notes, you lose one, you remain with 4 notes, and you have a 400 kwacha to yourself. Now, as we come on Friday for this program, we will try and give a detailed analysis of what it entails, how we are going to move, and all that. But basically, the issue of these new notes and what we've had in the past, the comparison that people are putting, we've had the 10,000 kwacha before, we had the 20,000 kwacha before, only zeros knocked down to that. Is the value still the same? It's supposed to be the debate, but people really are not even concentrating on that. They're just looking at what the conductor will say when you get on the bus and all that. We will have more of this on Friday as we come on this program. But today, we are discussing some very interesting topics. Later in this program, we'll be talking about the role of the church in promoting entrepreneurship as well as self-reliance. But just now, we will be zeroing in on the issue of overcoming fear and taking the leap. Have you been in a situation where you just decide to say, I'm done with this, I'm going on to the next thing? Take, for example, the issue of just quitting your job for something new. You don't even know where you are going, but you're saying, I'm done with this, I'm going on to the next level. There are people, fortunately, in this world that have taken that bold decision. I haven't taken it anywhere in my life. But, well, I'm joined by Mr. Russell Muhwende. I hope I'm pronouncing it like a Tonga person. The CEO for Rubex Designs Limited. And he is my guest on this program. Mr. Muhwende is a brother to me, born and bred in the tourist capital, Livingston, moved to Lusaka to pursue life. And part of what he is doing is Rubex Design. Mr. Muhwende, it's a privilege to have you on this platform today, not as a brother, but as a guest. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinkos.
How is Rubex doing?
No, Rubex is doing well. We can't complain.
You can't complain?
Sure, sure.
No problems for January and February?
Fortunate for this year, we've not had that problem.
The Lord is blessing you.
Definitely, yeah,
so
sure,
is Rubex
sure.
worried about the new kwacha notes?
Not really. I think it's a plus to some extent. I know there are some negatives attached to it. The major fear actually is about the repercussions of losing one note. Imagine if there are two, then the impact is more. But then certain benefits that you have is you don't necessarily need to carry a lot of money. So you need about just 2 notes to make 1,000 kwacha. But in the previous, the current
The outgoing.
yeah, the outgoing currency, or can I
Notes.
say notes actually? Of course, we are still using the same currency. The outgoing notes, you need about 10 of them with the highest value, which is 100 kwacha, which is quite a lot. I know there may be a few negatives here and there. Like you said, the conductor, how do they change? You give them a 500 kwacha, and the fact that small notes, if is it a 5 kwacha, has been reduced into a coin,
Yeah.
and you know people don't like coins, so
Maybe
we'll see how it
respect
goes.
for the coins.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
anyway, we
Yeah.
have something interesting to say over that, but we'll talk more about that on Friday as we come on this program. We are talking the issue of overcoming fear and taking the leap. You are here because you are such a person that quit a formal job to pursue entrepreneurship. First of all, run us through just the process of saying, I'm done with this. You were in college and I think employed, from what I have read, in a government institution.
Yeah.
And then you are saying, no, I'm not continuing with this, I'm done. Just making that decision, first of all, after spending, is it 3 years in college, and then eventually you come and say, I'm done with this.
Okay, my journey started in 2010 to 2012. I was a student right at Evelyn Horn.
Which is still your home church-wise.
Oh yeah. We actually worship from there. So I pursued a course, a health science course called physiotherapy.
Okay.
That was from 2010 to 2012. Part of the reasons why I pursued that course is that I loved sciences way back from high school, and I just felt I should do something scientific in nature, of which I loved the course, I'll be honest. Then around 2011, I was in my 3rd year. So one thing that I discovered is I love being inquisitive here and there. So I realized that what I would say is, I remember at some point we used to do what is called morning watch. Morning watch, these were prayers that were conducted, I think, between 5 and 6 every day by the Adventist community in campus. So we used to go there frequently. One of the classes we meet. So then there's this time around, I had noted that there was this vehicle that could always bring rose, mabanzi, and bread and the like, almost every morning around that time. Then a few students could buy. And then one of the days I just went and inquired from the guy. He told me, he was like, no, we have this bakery, we supply in campus and everything. So I was like, oh, okay. By then, we are still using the old notes. I think one was going forward. Anyway, with the current notes is that packet had about 10 rows. Then you buy it at 4 kwacha. Then you sell each at 50 ngwe. So you make like 1 kwacha from each. So that's how I got tempted. I was like, let me try out to see if I'm able to sell to my fellow students. And that's how I gave out a 20 kwacha. By then it was a 20,000. I gave out a 20 kwacha. He gave me change, which was 4 kwacha. He even convinced me, you buy from this. I said, let's see whether they will buy. And then that's how I just printed a small note on my door, rose and buns for sale. And to my surprise, actually, because I was at the furthest hostel. It's called Kariba A. Those who are familiar with Evelyn Horn, away from the market. So I bought, and that's how we started. I sold that day, and everything finished. People were like, this is good. You actually, because it's an upstairs setup, so people have to get down, go to the market, buy. So that was an inconvenience. They said, it's good you've brought the staff closer. So that's how the following day I continued. The 3rd day, But then one element that I discovered was that as an entrepreneur or a business person, you need to provide services that are being demanded by your clients. So one of the things that I actually discovered is the guys could be like, why don't you also order bread? So once in a while you buy bread. Why don't you order my buns? You also order my buns. I'm there. Why don't you also have even just my sugar, my small arrangement? So I continued. I pay attention to what people want. Sometimes they want to go and buy tomato at the same place. It was almost like 200 meters. They'll be like, why don't you also order tomato? Others will come and knock, do you have cooking oil? Do you have what? So I paid attention to that. And for sure, I would go to Soweto, usually on a Sunday, buy, tomatoes I buy from, by then it was like 1 kwacha. Then I sell each at 50 ngwe, then you buy 4 of them, then you make like half, which is like 50%. Is it 100%
100%
profit? So that's how I survived in campus. That was in 2011. I was in my 3rd year.
Wasn't that disturbing you academically?
Oh, thank you so much. So the privilege I had was that you see, the course was structured in such a way that you do attachments in your first term and the 3rd term. So the time I started, I was doing my attachments at Chainama Hospital. So the privilege that I had is my immediate young brother, Chumunya. That's the time he just finished his grade 12, and home was very close, just in Lodge Park. So most of the mornings he was in campus actually to do the selling for me. So the time I knock off in the afternoon, I would pick it up from there. And then I had a roommate who could also chip in and sell here and there. So that's how my entrepreneurship journey, I would say, started. As a benefit of going for morning walk for prayers, then the Lord opened up it. There was something that I actually never thought.
We're yet to explore more of your story. Just lay the foundation or preamble of what Mr. Russell Muhende, CEO for Rubek Design Limited, has to say. Let's take a quick break.
Pleased to announce the introduction of a new family of the Zambian currency to be launched on March 31st, 2025. The new currency family consists of 6 banknotes, 500 kwacha notes, 200 kwacha notes, 100 kwacha notes, 50 kwacha, 10 kwacha, and 6 coins, 5 kwacha, 2 kwacha, 1 kwacha, 50 ngwe, 10 ngwe, and 5 ngwe. Here are the key lights from the statement by the governor, Dr. Danny Kanyaga. The introduction of the new family of the Zambian currencies pursuant to Section 17(1) of the BOS Act 2022. The alpha code Zambian kwacha, the numeric code 967, and the currency symbol K will remain unchanged, as will be the value. The design of the new currency draws inspiration from the country's rich heritage, featuring elements that celebrate our unique flora and fauna and breathtaking waterfalls. This initiative, which was kick-started by the board approval in July 2021, reflects the bank's commitment to providing currency that is secure, efficient, user-friendly, and well-suited for everyday transactions. The Minister of Finance and National Planning will soon issue a statutory instrument, SI, detailing the procedures for exchanging the old currency for the new. The SI will also specify the exchange period as well as the designed exchange points across the country where the public can exchange their old currency for the new currency. To facilitate this change, the bank will launch a countrywide sensitization campaign to educate the public about the new currency so that everyone understands and becomes familiar with its features. Members of the public are encouraged to continue using the existing banknotes and coins, which remain legal tender until the time to be specified in the SI. The bank also apologizes for the current poor state of the banknotes. With the introduction of the new currency, this should soon be a thing of the past.
Thank you so much for still staying with us on the program. You just heard how going for prayers, in a way, gave birth to an idea that kept somebody going in school. But then what happened after that? So 2011, an idea is born. Mr. Muhende, you are selling bands or roses, bread, and all that you were doing because of the demand that came from school. Was that motivation enough for you to say, well, I think I should try something out of what others would say, white-collar pursuing of careers?
Okay, thank you. So what actually continued from there is that I continued paying attention to what friends or fellow students needed.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, I realized there were people who were doing a lot of assignments. During our time, we used to do handwriting.
Go, sir. All right, sincere apologies for that. We were trying to attend to a technicality. We hope now it has been fixed. My guest now is Mr. Russell Muhende, the CEO for Rubek's Designs, and we have just tapped into his entrepreneurial journey. From school, he started something, and he was just explaining a while ago how it all started. You ran us through the issue of the roses after going to church. So in one way, you are telling us that it's important to go to worship because after worshiping, you saw something that gave birth to an idea that today is Rubek's, which I think we've seen locally as well as in other parts of the African continent. I don't know how beyond, but we have seen that story. You were just, I did ask a question to say, was the idea of Rubek's born primarily because of the demand that you received from school in terms of roses, in terms of bread, tomatoes, and all that? Okay.
Never actually in my life. Because had that been the case, I was going to maybe do a business course and never saw myself. Like I said, I loved sciences from high school. So my dream and everything else was just in line with the same.
But you were just explaining a while ago before we were even interrupted because of a technicality
Yeah.
that you love art.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so one thing that I actually associated myself from childhood is that I love anything artistic in nature. When I started to realize, to just try and understand why, I actually discovered that my mother's mother, in this case
grandmother.
being my grandmother, she's actually still alive. She loved, of course, she's too old to do stuff now, but she loved making, baskets, anything artistic in nature. And as young as, I think I was in grade 7, she could teach me how to do stuff, and I would quickly do it without struggle. My mother was a teacher. Of course, she's late now, but then the 2 years I remember living with her, like almost every time she's available, she's free, you would see her. She would be knitting doormats, tape, those ones that are used by Dockers women, tablecloths, those days, tablecloths, and the like. So naturally, she loved that. So I actually discovered that I think it could be just something natural within that life. And then from childhood, I remember seeing my mother being entrepreneurial. Every morning before she leaves, she would beg.
Well, I'm afraid I have to interrupt.
Bank of Zambia is pleased to announce the introduction of a new family of the Zambian currency to be launched on March 31st, 2025. The new currency family consists of 6 banknotes: 500 kwacha notes, 200 kwacha notes, 100 kwacha notes, 50 kwacha, 10 kwacha, and 6 coins: 5 kwacha, 2 kwacha, 1 kwacha, 15 ngwe, 10 ingwe, and 5 ingwe. Here are the key lights from the statement by the governor, Dr. Danny Kariaria. The introduction of the new family of the Zambian currencies pursuant to Section 17(1) of the BOS Act 2022. The alpha code Zambian kwacha, the numeric code 967, and the currency symbol K will remain unchanged, as will be the value. The design of the new currency draws inspiration from the country's rich heritage, featuring elements that celebrate our unique flora and fauna and breathtaking waterfalls. This initiative, which was kick-started by the board approval in July 2021, reflects the bank's commitment to providing currency that is secure, efficient, user-friendly, and well-suited for everyday transactions. The Minister of Finance and National Planning will soon issue a statutory instrument, SI, detailing the procedures for exchanging the old currency for the new. The SI will also specify the exchange period, as well as the designed exchange points across the country where the public can exchange their old currency for the new currency. To facilitate this change, the bank will launch a countrywide sensitization campaign to educate the public about the new currency so that everyone understands and becomes familiar with its features. Members of the public are encouraged to continue using the existing banknotes and coins, which remain legal tender until the time to be specified in the SI. The bank also apologizes for the current poor state of the banknotes. With the introduction of the new currency, this should soon be a thing of the past.
Thank Thank you so much for staying with us. It's Hope Live, and today, Wednesday, we are discussing many issues that lead to the issues of entrepreneurship. And right now, I have Mr. Russell Muhende, the CEO for Rubex Designs Limited, and he is helping us really understanding what you will have to do to overcome your fear, your own fear of doing something, and also take the leap for something that you are uncertain of. Remember, when we are told about entrepreneurship, most of us are asking ourselves, is it time for me to quit my well-paying job and pursue the entrepreneurial aspect of my life, or what exactly are we supposed to do? And Mr. Muhende here is an example of somebody who said, I don't want to work anymore. I want to work for myself. Instead of being paid, I have to be the one that will be paying people. And that's why he's here with us. So let's build up from where we really started from, and hoping that this time around we are going to finish our thoughts on what we are putting through together. Earlier on, you did mention how it all started, but also in your third year of your study, pursuing a health science course, in this case physiotherapy, if I got you correctly, and then an idea is born after attending church meetings, and you saw an opportunity and you pursued it to what it is today. But you were earlier on running us through, I think where you started from really is for the many things that the students needed at Evelyn Horn was the issue of typing and all that, especially for those pursuing business courses and all that. Let's start from there so that we can build what is into Rubex today.
Okay, thank you. So I was just explaining to say I realized that my mother was quite artistic, including the mother, who in this case is my grandmother. And then on the sidelines, when we were growing up, of course, it's just me and my young brother from mom and dad. So one thing that I remember is that every time mom woke up in the morning, she would bake scones and do fritters, give us to go and sit outside our yard or somewhere in the public area, like a market, to do the selling and the like. I used to hate that, because I was like, you know what, my mother works, my father works, why should I be sitting? And, you know, that was associated to, you know, people who are struggling and the like. So I never liked that, to be honest. But then, little did I know that I may end up have to live like that for the rest of my life. So years, of course, went by, and later on, whilst in college, of course, the business for selling buns, rolls was doing fine. Then there was demand now on the other aspect to say, do you do printing and do what? In 2010, as I went to college, I had never had an exposure to a laptop, not even typing or anything. I was privileged to have a friend who was doing computer science by the name of Kelvin Chinyamakawina. So he was very kind enough to just give me his laptop. I would make mistakes. The only thing I could do is play a song. Yeah, just like that. But then because of the artistic side of me, I quickly grasped the whole computer stuff. I would design a cover page for myself, do stuff and the like. So eventually, because of the same business, I managed to buy a laptop. And interacting with a few friends that were doing printing on my floor, I discovered that there was actually very good profit from printing. So that's how I quickly went to, I think that was Cosmic Printers at Manda Hill. I remember that was in 2011 to go and buy a printer. And that's how I started my printing business. And at some point, I think I was the only student with a color printer in campus. From NIPA, from ZICAS, we had so many people that could come. And I remember by then, I could raise as high as a 500 kwacha per week. That was a lot of money.
The
because
old 500
yes,
kwacha.
the old 500 kwacha. Because from home, monthly, I was just getting a 200 kwacha for, is it upkeep? That was enough, by the way, by then. But then I used to make like a 500. So in term 2 going upwards, I even told them to say, I mean, not even I told, I stopped collecting the pocket money because, okay, yeah.
You were stuck,
Yeah, that was it. So every Friday I would go and deposit my money at Levy Junction. There's a Zanaco branch there. So that's how my life began. So then at some point I had to buy another laptop. I also bought another printer. The time I finished in December 2012, I actually remember, instead of doing the traditional way of looking for a job anywhere and the like, I instead started looking for a room where I could do my printing business.
Right at school.
Not really, because once you leave school, there's no space. I was using my room for the same. So the fact that home was just in Roadspark, so I looked for a space near the same campus. So luckily, by Wednesday of the following week of completing, I managed to find space just opposite NIPA. There was a lot of boarding houses there and the like, and small business. So I managed to get a room there. And that's how my journey became more serious. Even by then in campus, I was struggling to come up with a business name, and that's how I came up with the same one, the Rubex. I will not say what it means.
I was going to ask, but there's also somewhere there.
Definitely, first two letters is from my name. Anyway, I can still say then Bex was actually a nickname.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just combined, and that's how the company. So now, because I was cocooned, I didn't get enough exposure on what happened. So, but one thing that I knew, I used to hear about taxes, what. So I realized through interaction with the big guys in the industry, you actually need to register your company. I never knew what that means. And that's how I was taken through the process, went to PACRA, registered, and that's how Rubex was registered formally in 2013, 10th January. That's a date actually in honor of my mom's. That's the day she died. So I registered that, and life continued. Later on, we registered the ZRA and formally started trading.
Could this then mean that that was the moment that you abandoned what you were in school for?
I wouldn't say abandoned, because the tradition is that when you are in campus, you train, you get trained, and immediately you finish, you have to apply for jobs.
Okay.
And for us who did health sciences, it's more of a norm, and those guys who did teaching courses. Actually, I remember a lot of my former classmates could come and do photocopying at my premises, and those days where Ministry of Community Development is the one which was taking care of clinics. There will be openings and the like. I never saw the need to do that. But then I said, you know what, let me push my agenda. And I wasn't bothered. But I know this is bad, but anyway, it may sound a bit bad. But then I received a lot of pressure from my family to say, there's no way you did this course, we sent you to school and everything. You are concentrating on your business and the like. So can you push? And I had no option. I applied also, like everybody else could apply. Then the very year in 2013, December, I received an acceptance letter of employment. So that's how I was sent to Solwezi at the General Hospital. So I worked there the whole lot of 2014. I worked there the whole lot of 2015. 2016, that's when the journey to quit came. But then upon having worked there for just 2 months or 3 months, I realized to say that I was knocking off at 16 hours. Then I was like, but why? And then, okay, it was very strange, because during my own days, I would wake up to 18, 19, every day, then knocking off at 16 was very strange, and I was very convinced to say that, there's something that is missing. So that's how I pushed myself at a nearby lodge. I think it's Floriana Lodge. I pushed myself and convinced the owner of the institution to say I'm a physiotherapist and I can work as a gym assistant. And that's how she had doubts. But then I convinced her. And that's how she gave me a job to be doing those part-time job between 18 and 22 hours when the gym closes. And I worked there for an extra income. By then, I think it was 2,000 kwacha, which was quite a lot for a young man like myself.
Single. Yeah,
single, less pressure and all those. So I worked there for quite a long time. Not sure at some point, I really can't remember what happened. But then I had to, I remember now. There's a certain gentleman who opened an aerobics center. So because of my involvement in the same and the like, they discovered how good I was on the other side. So somebody recommended that I can go and work there. So I just relocated from the other side to the aerobic center, of which I had a very big class. So I worked with those guys for a month, and I would say, unfortunately, the owner of the program got a job abroad, and that's how he left. I think he went as a coach for soccer or something. So
Our interest really now is the movement, the transition from
Yeah.
the formal employment. Yeah, we have seen the build-up. It was in you already. Concentrated on business, but family pressure. Then you had to get into formal employment. 2-3 years down the line, you are saying, well, this is not for me. I'll have to leave. What really convinced you to say it's time to leave formal employment and pursue your personal interests?
okay, thank you so much. So like I had indicated earlier to say, the boredom I could find myself in between knocking off and things couldn't make sense. And then, like I said, I come from the world of creatives. You know, art is creativity. So for the very first time in my life, after having exposed my mind to the business world, I was, I was, I actually identified that there was something missing. You know, with government work, in most cases, there's bureaucracy issues and okay, like I just felt there was a vacuum. Like I wasn't being myself. I wasn't given room to expand my mind, to explore, bring in ideas. So you know, you're treating patients. There's a formalized way of doing things. Like for my course, you can't hold a stroke patient from this side. You have to. So like I was literally just being part of the process. So I said, I think this environment is not good for me. They're knocking off at 16 and the like. So within 1 year, I was convinced to say, I cannot work for the next 30 years in this state. So that's how the idea to just want to quit started now. Convincingly, I would go for work. I would feel out of place, you know, with certain restrictions. So that created that giant in me to say, you know what, I think it's high time I push. So then the business environment was okay, but then remember that the printing issue, the media and the like was dying on my side. I need to see how best I could push it. So every time I would come to Lusaka, that car, I would get leave for a week or two, then I would run up and down, people would make phone calls because I continued doing that on Facebook and the like. Then the business that I was running, I left it in the hands of friends. But then at some point, they also got formal jobs and it died. But then I would come and then I remember sharing this story with my uncle to say, I think I just want to, I pushed for transfers, things couldn't work. I said, you know what, maybe it's God is doing. So that's how I pushed myself to say that I'll get the courage. And that's how I got the courage. Of course, not in the very first year. Second year finished. In third year, around June, July, I was convinced to say that, you know what, I'm not going to work.
And that's what brings me to
Yeah.
really the question that how did you weigh the risks and benefits of leaving your job to start your own business fully?
You know, what shocks people actually, even myself, is that the time I was resigning from government, I was 25 years of age. I got employed at 23 and I left government at 25. I was a very young guy. Sometimes when I sit, I look at the decisions I made. Sometimes I just laugh. You know, I may not necessarily have a very good convincing reasons to say this is why I left. But one of the reasons is that I think I just felt there was a vacuum. I was not very satisfied with what I was doing routine work over and over. I needed an environment where I would grow and expand, be creative. Your ideals and ideas are respected, and that wasn't being provided. So I said, instead of being a burden, you know, to steal government time and all those things, let me simply do the quitting. And that's how I got the courage, sent my friend some money to look for a room for me. I started my life in Matero, in Chunga area, in a 2 rooms house. You know, I had to be a bit smart on my family. I never told them that I've resigned. And that's how I started my life. Sold almost everything, remained with the mattress and the fridge and the TV, and got on a bus, came back to Lusaka. And that's how my life started. The time I was leaving government, I only had, I think, slightly less than a 10,000 kwacha to start my journey.
The question is, were you not afraid that you are quitting your job with the uncertainty that comes with the business environment, because your business died at some point. But you still feel in you that you have to pursue it, but you are trying to pursue it, leaving your former employment at the time that the other part that you started is dead. Didn't that scare you? How did you face the realities to say, whether the business is not doing fine or not, I'm going for this?
So I was fortunate enough that I just thought in one direction, and that was a positive side of all things. That is a bigger picture I had. The fact that maybe in campus I ran a business that I could call successful, and then having finished again for the following year, I pushed and I never had a challenge. So there was a conviction, I think, within me to say that I would make it. And I never had fears whatsoever. I know people would say, why didn't you just get unpaid leave? Why didn't you just push for a transfer and all those things? You know what? I had to tell myself to say, for me to be very successful in this journey that I'm trying to push, I need to put myself in a very awkward situation, because you see, if I came here on transfer, if I came here on unpaid leave or I got study leave, I was going to be comfortable because of that salary that